90-day Fiancé diva Angela Deem is furious and ready to take out her frustration on Michael Sammy following their painful breakup. Never one to back down, Angie is about to lose it. Angela can't help but be drawn to Michael, and now that he's gone, apparently forever, she's giving in to a great deal of grief and rage. She is a proud queen of reality TV 1 minute and a heartbroken, resentful woman who needs a hug the next. Her emotional roller coaster is quite the roller coaster. She has the potential to become a vicious monster when her emotions change and distort her mental state. Angela is currently accepting a relationship failure that is, in her opinion, the worst-case situation. That's why her actions and words are so startling. Putting too much faith in Michael led to the current situation. It would have been best to make a clean departure years ago, when the warning signs began to appear. In February 2024, Michael left, saying he felt in danger. This might be the case, but it was clear the young man was taking advantage of her. It's obvious that he had no intention of staying at her house. The sophisticated lady appeared to be eyeing Gino, the hat-loving ex-boyfriend of Jasmine Pineda, who is no stranger to controversy. Gino was unable to find much sexual vigor with Jasmine. In an attempt to elicit a rise out of Gino, she was prepared to try anything, even having her privates tightened. Jasmine was a conceited, theatrical, and clout chaser who was always looking for ways to make money, but she also had her shortcomings. Does Angela desire a man like this one? She would get a weak man with a pathetic libido instead of her usual Nigerian prince, and she always suspected that Michael was a scammer. But that's insufficient to quench the sweet Georgia peach that is Mima. Angela, who is very passionate, needs to find a partner who is willing to compromise. She'll always feel let down as long as she keeps her sights set on these dubious guys. It's possible that Angela wanted to incite jealousy in her well-known ex, but that's not going to happen. Angela demonstrates to the world that she is unable to move on when she so blatantly tries to change the story in order to force her ex to react. Not hatred, but apathy is the antithesis of love. She's not there yet, and she might never be, at least not with Michael. Even though Angie is devastated, that doesn't mean she will just sit there sob. Even though the scene is a little out of date, she's still making it. Angela was excited to be in the front row for what seemed like a high-energy Vanilla Ice concert, so she arrived early. One could argue that, in the modern world, nobody really gives a damn about the former rap sensation, but Angela does. Texas native Vanilla Ice, whose real name is Robert Matthew Von Winkle, took the nation by storm with his catchy brag song, Ice Ice Baby. Here are a few of his poems. I totally rock a mic like a vandal. Set the scene ablaze and treat a chump like a wax candle. Dance, get over to the loudspeaker. I am destroying your mind akin to a toxic fungus. This kind of bluster gets back to her since Angela has an ego of her own. She appears a little desperate, though, when she shows up at these kinds of gatherings wearing skimpy clothing or when she poses provocatively on Instagram and TikTok. Angela would demonstrate to Michael that she is a completely different person if she went for a chick makeover. No one wants to see Angela looking like Hillary Clinton, but perhaps if she toned it down, people might be able to see more sides to her than just the typical in-your-face stuff. Angela is 58. She has been donning baseball hats on backwards, voluminous yellow gold glitter, and extremely low-cut necklines on tops. Even though Angela is 58 years old and may be more mature than most, she simply cannot take it when individuals like Michael. She believes that anyone who backs her wild former partner is honoring a true jerk who let her down. That's why they ought to be embarrassed. Angie unleashed her fury on Michael's followers, referring to them as Team Scammer. Later, apparently overcome with remorse, Angela removed the message from Instagram, but the harm had already been done. She was clearly furious within, as everyone could tell. Queen Angie ought to put aside her fears and soar beyond. Apart from keeping an eye on Michael's followers and confronting them, Angela is capable of so much more. What kind of life is that? Naturally, No one anticipates a woman such as Angela to avoid the limelight. She could still make an effort to quit reading all of the criticism that her failed relationship has received. A brief respite would be beneficial for her. Her rage simply rises up when she reads this material because she is a feisty Sagittarius woman. According to the Entertainment Tonight at Facebook clip above, Michael didn't seem to enjoy his meal when Angela forced him to sample some hog during a dinner out. That wasn't the worst thing that occurred, though. After tasting the dish, Angela believed Michael had spit, which greatly infuriated her. She immediately returned the spit. When Angela behaves in this manner, it's best to run for cover. Although the spitting was impolite and disrespectful, she really is capable of much worse. While Angela didn't weaponize the hog Michael was eating, she did weaponize a tasty strawberry shortcake by pushing it in her partner Michael's face while she was lying, cheating, and conniving. That was really incorrect. It is truly impossible to defend this kind of brutality, no matter how beautiful it seems. Michael doesn't get Angela, and she loses her mind. He doesn't know. He never saw the hopeless romantic in her. Instead, he sees an older, enraged woman ripping apart him. Even though Michael consistently lets her down, she still chooses to forgive him. Then he eventually departs permanently. What sort of romantic tale is that? Angela didn't realize her fantasy. She would be a very different person if she were with a man who was kinder and more genuine. Hence, while Angie's actions are ultimately her own responsibility, both parties are deserving of guilt. In the 90DF series, this gambit isn't quite unheard of. Appearing in the original series and its spin-offs, American men and women frequently dominate their partners who are from less developed nations. They treat them like they're inferior even though they seem to like that they are dependent on them. This kind of hotness and power disparity is not encouraging. In the video above, Michael talked candidly about their failed relationship. In actuality, the fundamental cause of the demise of so many 90DF couples is the absence of financial parity. In Angela's instance, she became desperate for vengeance after Michael left her. She made the same decision as many other frustrated 90-day Fiancé lovers to even the score by having her ex deported. Does this go too far? Is it something more than the typical conflict that arises between ex-partners following an unpleasant and exhausting split? Perhaps. It's like going from slings and arrows to nuclear weapons in a romantic sense. The height of resentment is truly trying to get someone deported from the U.S. so they can't pursue the American dream. It usually doesn't function. Pedro Jimeno, who is safe and healthy in sunny Georgia, is still beaming in every Instagram photo that Chantal Everett attempts with him. He is the thorn in Chantal's side, so to speak. Whether he's having fun on July 4th with a new family or attempting to con other ladies through his gigolo-like Paradise Men Facebook group, Michael will be a pain in Angela's side. Angie's decision to hire a gumshoe was reminiscent of a cheesy noir movie. A wealth of information was discovered by her enigmatic investigator, all of which supported the painfully obvious. Indeed, Michael was a dishonest con man who desired to have relationships with other women. He accomplished more than that, in actuality. Michael is a major con artist in Angela's eyes. He's the prince from Nigeria who changed into a frog. He is the con artist who picked her out on Facebook in an attempt to defraud her. The only real reason Angela hired the expert was to obtain closure. Once people are aware of the truth, they start to accept it for what it is. They can then recover. Therefore, even though Angela may have erred by stepping over this boundary, it's probably preferable that she is aware of this. These kinds of information can alter someone's perspective and awaken them when they are presented with them directly. Michael pretended to be a pious and mistreated ex in his GoFundMe picture while sporting a God Got Me t-shirt. Yes, Angela is abusive, and that cannot be justified, but he also lies and cheats. That is something that nobody should ever forget. Nevertheless, Michael's GoFundMe is really doing very well since Angie has gone too far, way too often. He needs money to pay for the legal fees he will incur from taking Angela to court. She most likely intended to have him deported when she filed for an annulment. Michael has received almost $42,000 in donations thus far. While most GoFundMe campaigns end in failure, this one is succeeding. Angela must be quite enraged by the fact that supporters are spending money to support Michael. She must be forced over the brink by it. She can no longer treat this man like a pushover and treat him like an ex. Angela is no longer in charge as the entire dynamic has changed. She's discrediting his business endeavor because of this, according to the things. As you can see above, Angela went on a lengthy and, to be honest, humorous tirade about TikTok. It was also quite depressing. Angela let her resentment truly overwhelm and devour her on Instagram. She did not hesitate. Angela, the sad and humiliated star, looked very tense, most likely due to her fan base supporting her former true love, who was now her enemy. Mima stated, "Could you please use GoFundMe to reimburse me for the years I lost to a scammer? Whoa. Oh, how painful it is. Angela's life is really difficult right now. Laughter, not force, is her strongest weapon. Though it's not life or death, the scenario is awful, don't you think? Life carries on. There are more serious issues. Some people lack dwellings in addition to not having adequate food. A few are losing their lives to cancer. Perspective is necessary, and life should be appreciated despite its imperfections. There might be happy moments in every day. Angela was better off without Michael, who wasn't a suitable fit for her. She'll come to treasure his departure as a gift. It simply seems like a negative thing at this moment. Unlike most breakups, this one is public, meaning that everyone can see the dirty laundry. Angie effectively gave up her right to privacy when she made the decision to become a reality TV star. She must therefore respond, "Yes, I did that," to those who make fun of her for punching Michael, damaging his car, and pushing cakes in his face. It was incorrect. It's really difficult for Angela. She thought she was perfectly entitled. With so much anger stored up inside of her, Angela is capable of being set off, turning into a terrifying monster akin to Godzilla with a desire to destroy the entire area. To get a broad impression, picture the Incredible Hulk in full bloom. "Do you recall Homer Simpson's transformation into the Hulk?" he declared. "That's the one, Angela. The worst thing about her is her uncontrollably irrational fury. It's the deformed remnants of a passionate fantasy that went terribly wrong. Angela must face her rage and find healthy ways to let it out. It's time to mature." Angela is becoming a bitter stalker on social media. A resentment ignites this strange occurrence. Envious stalkers believe they have the right to torment their targets. All of them deal with uninvited touch. They permeate every part of their victims' lives and are omnipresent. A vindictive stalker may feel justified when they start living such an eerie lifestyle, yet there's a reason why stalking is prohibited. Victims of stalking endure suffering. They are kept under observation, much like lab rats in a peculiar bubble. They become used to their new situation, but trauma never goes away. It is unnerving to feel as though you are being seen or heard. Life is not normal, and it shouldn't be. Angela is always aware of what her former partner is up to. When Michael shows no interest in speaking with her, she might try to get in touch. Angela is an annoyance to him. His desire is freedom. She ought to hand it over to him. A stalker's obsession with stalking takes over their lives and never brings them happiness. Regretfully, a lot of bitter stalkers don't stop for years. They simply never cease. This in no way diminishes Angela's character. It's entirely human of her to love and miss him. But it's very terrible for her. This may be the root of a lot of her rage, social media stalking, and other behaviors. There's an ocean of tears beneath the simmering anger that feels like a volcano about to erupt. But Michael is like a dangerous snake. She's bound to get bitten if she approaches. She is unable to pursue the reconciliation. This pattern must end permanently. He must also be free from her outbursts, aggression, and other things. These two must continue to be kept apart. They don't work well together. Michael, a Pisces man, most likely desires a softer, more understanding partner. Pisces locals are delicate individuals who should be handled with caution. This level of intuitive awareness is beyond what a fire sign like Angela can offer. They'll disagree forever. Angela, the star of 90 Day Fiancé, has an electrifying raw charm that Michael will never possess. She has a gift for it. Angela needs to use it now more than ever to get through this difficult time in her life since it is her superpower.